सावन आयो दर्श दिखाओ जन्म जन्म दे रोग मिटाओ जन्म जन्म दे रोग मिटाओ चाहे दुखिया हो जाए राजी देखी जान सार सावन दी सावन के रंगा बिचरासी देखी जान सार सावन दी.
You make me homesick.
Likewise.
When you sing of Sawan, I get homesick for the true home. Not for any home in this world. True home. Welcome, friends, to this afternoon session. I mentioned in the morning that I will be speaking to you briefly about the conditions that help us to do meditation better. One of them is what food we take. It is known that alcohol, drugs, they affect our mind and they scatter our mind. They do not allow concentration. Therefore, those do not help in meditation, and that is why it was virtually made a condition that if you want to get initiated on the spiritual path of this particular path which leads you to your inner home through the sound current, then you should avoid alcohol and drugs. Also, eating of meat and products that are created by killing higher forms of life than plants also affects our consciousness and makes it difficult to meditate properly. I remember I was the collector and deputy commissioner of Dharamsala, Kangra district, when His Holiness Dalai Lama had to flee from Tibet and come to India. As a government official, I was given that responsibility to receive him and to house him and set up his place where he is still living in Dharamsala. When he came, he was a young man, and he spoke very little English, which he began to learn after coming here, spoke very little Hindi, spoke Bhoti, his own Tibetan language, but he used to eat meat. And I used to sometimes take him out in my Land Rover. As a government functionary, I had a Land Rover, and we used to drive on the mountains and talk especially about meditation. Because he came from Tibet along with two tutors, a senior tutor and a junior tutor, who were both teaching him 8 hours of meditation a day. That was a lot of meditation. And he was concerned about a lot of things that were happening, and he was not at peace because he had to leave his country and come out. I mentioned to him that his diet was not conducive to meditation, that vegetarian meals will be better for his meditational practice. And he said, how does that matter? Because he doesn't kill. Buddha said, thou shalt not kill. And he doesn't kill. He let somebody else kill, and he only eats what somebody else has killed. And I told him that the subconscious of a human being is so designed, it retains memories that the conscious mind is sometimes unaware of. For example, when you extinguish life of any kind, your concentration suffers just because of the hidden feelings of that extinguishing of life that rests in the memory of your subconscious. I gave him an example that if you kill a man, commit a murder, and come back and try to read a book that you have been reading for years at a certain pace, you read, say, a page a minute, try to read the same book, and it will take you much longer. You can't concentrate even on reading a book. It takes time for you to recover. The recovery time will depend upon what level of life you have killed. Supposing you killed an animal. You go and kill a dog and you feel guilty about it, your power of concentration suffers. And you will still notice by experiment that the book on which you could concentrate easily to read a page a minute now takes 2-3 minutes to read the same page. The truth is, even if you pluck an apple or pull out a tree, concentration suffers to some extent. Any life that is extinguished by us, it leaves a residue of effect on the memory stored in our subconscious. It can be experimented. And you will find that if you kill you can't survive without killing. Even plants have life. Even vegetarians, they also eat plants which have life. We don't live on stones and dirt. We all survive. The whole species, the whole nature in this universe is surviving by killing somebody else. So it's a strange place we are in. It's not our real place. It's not our home. But where we are, we find that the killing of animals, killing of people, killing of plants, killing is essential for our food. And therefore, but if you kill at the lowest level of awakened consciousness, the effect on you is the least. The effect which you kill a man is not the same as you kill an animal. The effect that you kill an insect is not the same as you kill a mammal. The effect that you eat a vegetable is not the same as you kill an insect. There's a varying degrees. What makes the degrees is the extent of awareness of consciousness in all these species. The plant life is the most dormant in consciousness, but they still have some consciousness. The insects and other smaller creatures have little more consciousness, and as you grow to mammals, they have much more development, and human beings are the most developed. So you find that the extinguishing of life at any of these levels results in impact on your subconscious at the same level. Therefore, these mystics have suggested that we know you have to survive by extinguishing of some life. Why not do it by taking the life of the least conscious beings, which are trees and plants and vegetables? There is a group of religious believers in India called Jains. The Jains even believe that amongst vegetables, if you have to pluck a flower or a tree or an apple or something, it is better than pulling the whole plant out. Therefore, they will not eat potatoes, for example, because they say potatoes, every time you pull out, you kill the plant. So they have distinguished between the plants that are killed by being pulled out and plants that merely yield something by virtue of their fruit. In the same way, there are vegetarians who are called lacto-vegetarians. They will take dairy and milk products because they say we don't kill the cow to drink the milk. So there are varying degrees in which we can have food, but good meditation, the type I've been recommending for the last 2 days, comes from eating food that has the least impact on the subconscious and does not drag you down. So that is why it's recommended very light vegetarian meals. You can have lacto-vegetarian meals are appropriate for good meditation. Of course, you can make it a fad. I once attended a conference in Japan with a Zen Buddhist group. And that particular group, the Zen Buddhists, they said that the secret lies in the food. I agreed with them. Secret of good meditation lies in the food you eat. But then they narrowed it down to rice. They said the secret is rice. Then they also believed a particular kind of Japanese rice, that if you take that grain of rice, your soul goes up. Now that is too much now, I think. I thought that if that rice were so good, we could distribute all that rice all over, everybody will go to heaven. So we can sometimes make it a fad, make it, and not realizing what is the basis for this. After all, there is a scientific basis for spirituality also. Spirituality is not a fad. It's got a basis which can be explained scientifically. The science and spirituality, if you understand it, go together. And there is no real contradiction if you understand both and the implications of both. Therefore, food that is light It's also not good that you say, I'm a vegetarian, and you devour huge quantities of food and can't even wake up in the morning. I mean, you say, I am a vegetarian, therefore I am on my spiritual path. You have to also have a light eater. You should eat less than needed. I understand that most people eat more than they need. In fact, I wanted to do an experiment with a group, whether by cutting out what we eat into half will cause ill health or better health. You'll be surprised, all improved in their health. That means eat too much. We eat more than is needed. We actually need much less than what we eat. And look at the problem in this country. Obesity grows every year. Eating too much fat, eating things that are not good, junk food. Of course, it's difficult to now they're making healthy junk food. All kinds of gimmicks also come up sometimes. So we have to be a little careful. On the other hand, we can be so much involved in this part of spirituality that we forget that this is not spirituality, it's an aid to spirituality. In 60s, I came here and met some people who were on the path. They had been initiated, and I went to buy some groceries. I found them spending hours and hours on looking at every label in the food market, and I said, take something simple, vegetables, and take simple things instead of studying all the fine print of the ingredients on these cans. I felt that the 2.5 hours they spent on reading the cans could have been better spent on meditation. In any case, if you take something, believing it to be a vegetarian, believing it to be right, and doesn't matter what it is, you believe it to be the right food, and you meditate, it becomes the right food. So therefore, meditation is more important than the ingredients on the label. But to spend excessive time is also like a fad. So there was a friend of mine, he would go to a restaurant and he say, did you cook this vegetarian meal in the same dish in which you cook the meat? They said, no sir, we try to avoid. I would go into the kitchen and see. No sir, no visitors are allowed in the kitchen. I have to go in, and he would walk into the kitchen of every restaurant. I stopped going out for meals with him. You can carry anything to excess. So you have to have a moderation, draw a commonsensical line. And I tell you, common sense is important. As sometimes I've mentioned, a human being has many senses. 5 senses of perception, I talk about all the time. Seeing, touching, tasting, smelling. These are 5 senses of perception. Then there is a 6th sense. 6th sense has been used, the expression has been used, 6th sense. It means intuition. And they say women have more 6th sense than men have. I believe so. For the sake of my own safety, I say so. But I must say that the 7th sense is more important than these 6. The 7th sense is common sense. And it is very uncommon. Common sense has to be applied where you can see what is important, what is not. The distinction between the chaff and the grain is common sense. That you should note, I am going too far into this, or I am not going too far, I am on a moderate pace. So that common sense should not be lost. But when I'm talking of the 5 senses, I should say there's 8th sense also, which I believe is the highest sense. That's the sense of humor, the ability to laugh. The ability to laugh at any situation, the ability to laugh at yourself, the ability to laugh and use the most popular and most effective meditational mantra that I have ever found. 2 words mantra, which you can apply on your daily life, and that is, so what? And you will see it comes in so handy in so many situations which bother you down. And then you look at what the implication of it is. Why are you so worried? So what? We'll handle it. Like a philosopher from California came to India. He had a nice white beard, and like David's beard, see? He had a beautiful beard, and whenever I see white beard, I think of great master. So I was very happy to see him. I invited him for dinner at my house. And he said, "You liked my talk?" I said, "No, I liked your beard." But in his talk, he said something very wise too. In his talk, he said that we have a tendency to avoid problems. And when a problem comes into our life, we always have a tendency how to avoid it, how to skirt around it. And we say how to postpone it. But it doesn't solve the problem. It still stays there and haunts you till you solve it. It's just a postponement. So his advice was, when a problem comes into your life, first meet it, greet it, and beat it. Simple formula. So he said this simple, straightforward formula is that you deal with the problem as it comes, don't skirt around it. There are many people who will hold on to a problem for years. I met a man in Chicago only the other day. He said something to me which he thought would hurt me. He had no idea that I never get hurt. He had no idea that I like to be hurt. He thought I am going to insult him. And I said, "No, even Gary I was telling the other day. Oh, somebody didn't pay you respect." I said, "I don't expect respect. I don't even respect respect. I think that somebody who criticizes you is helping you. Actually, he's taking away your karma. So when people insult me, criticize me, I say, thank God, you've done a good job for me." Even one of the gurus in that book, the holy book, says, "Long live people who criticize you because they're doing my work." So that is why it's not important that you should be sensitive to these things. You should feel that this is something that you can rejoice and enjoy. Your life changes when you have a little change in your attitude towards these things. So I was mentioning about the conditions that create good environment and ambience for meditation. Food and drink is one of them. Apply common sense and look at things in a very straightforward way. Is it coming in my way or not? If nothing helps, like the Dalai Lama, I talked to him. When he was taking meat, he said, "Somebody else kills and I don't kill." And I said, "You are carrying it in your subconscious." After a lot of argument, his tutors did not agree, so he wouldn't agree with me. I challenged him to meditate for 1 month with meat and meditate for 1 month without it and tell me if there's a difference. To cut the story short, after the 2nd month, he was a vegetarian, became a vegetarian. He said there's an immense difference in the two. So even a man who is today worshipped by thousands of Tibetans, who is liked by so many people, admired, a Nobel Prize winner for peace, even that man had to experiment to find out that there is something that affects our meditation. And it's not only that vegetarian food and abstinence from alcohol and drugs can help you, even your lifestyle. Supposing you are fighting and angry every day, it will affect your meditation. Supposing you are depressed all the time, it will affect your meditation. Any one of these modes in which we stay, it affects our meditation. Sometimes people say, "This was a good day for me, my meditation went very well." Sometimes not a good day. So then I rely upon another study that has been done. It's called the Study of Biorhythms. I don't know how many of you heard about it. That when we are born, the biological system in the body sets off a currents of biorhythms, which biological rhythms then keep on controlling various parts of our functions. For example, there's a bodily function, how physically well you feel. Sometimes you feel high, sometimes you feel low, and it goes on. And it's a 29-day cycle. If you write down your date of birth and make 29-day cycles, you can see that during one period of 29 days, you were high and you were low every 29 days. There's an intellectual cycle which shows that your clarity of mind runs also over 33 days. There's another cycle, emotional cycle, which runs with the moon, 30 days. But now they discovered the latest gadget I saw, in which the programming is done for biorhythms. They found 7 more biorhythms. But anyway, I was studying only 3 at one time. And it is interesting, you can buy a small computer into which you plug your date and draw the graph immediately of the 3 charts. And you can find out that on some days, the 3 coincide high. Of course, it doesn't happen very often, because the cycles are different. And some days they are low. Now, even those biorhythms, I found, affect the quality of your meditation. That when you are high otherwise, you're feeling happy, on top of the world, cheerful, your meditation is also high. And the days when you are low, for some reason, it's not a great day, it's a cloudy day, it's not a good weather, the weather is down, you're depressed over some bad news, meditation is also bad. So meditation also has a rhythm of its own. The difference is, other biorhythms stay on the same axis. There is the axis, the rhythms move on a sine curve like that. But in the case of the meditational rhythm, the axis itself gets shifted like this. So, although the rhythm is the same, the highs later on are higher than the previous highs, and the lowers are not as low as the previous lows. So, meditation helps. Meditation helps in even dealing with this rhythm that is prevalent in our biological systems. So, one should not worry about it, that I am now today low, I am high, because you continue to meditate, you find that the high becomes higher, the low becomes less low. So there is an advantage in that. But the environment around you, where you are sitting, you sit with people who are constantly talking to you, and you feel like running away from there, and then you can't run away from there, and try meditation, you'll have a hard time. You are lonely, you can't do meditation. There has to be a moderation in even the company you keep. If you keep the company of people who are always fighting with each other, you are affected in your meditation. You keep the company of cheerful people who are laughing and joking, your meditation is better. So, do not think that meditation is a mechanical thing. It affects you in so many ways, and it is affected by so many things, that if you keep a good environment around you, the meditation will always be better. So I would recommend that if somebody is a serious student of meditation, they should watch out for these things. Eat less and eat good, light food, vegetarian food, and abstain from any drugs, intoxicants, any kind of intoxicants, alcohol, even some other things that can cause some intoxicant effect and depress you or lower your clarity. Avoid those, you will have better meditation. On the other hand, if you do meditation regularly, your clarity increases. You're able to see things very clearly. Your confusion becomes much less. Even if the other results that I'm talking of going to another level of consciousness does not take place, there are so many peripheral benefits. Your anger goes down. Your possessiveness, greed becomes less. There are so many side benefits, I should say, not side effects, side benefits of meditation. So meditation has many benefits right down on this earth. Leave aside what will happen on the astral plane or other planes. So, but use it with all the caution that's required, so that you don't just eat, drink what you like and then say meditation is not working. Meditation doesn't work like that. You have to have that kind of a simple life, simple food. It does not mean don't have fun. By the way, some people think that you have to be very sad to have good meditation. Some people feel you have to be poor to have meditation. A man in Boston told me he was crying. A rich man with a huge mansion living there just got interested in spirituality, spent time with me and cried one day. I said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Because I am rich." I said, "I thought you should enjoy your riches." He says, "No, it's written in the Bible that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. I have no chance of going to heaven. I want to be poor." I said, "You misunderstood the whole quotation. You have to be poor in spirit, not poor in money. You can have all the money in the world, think it is God's gift to you for using here, and not get attached to it. You are poor. You are the riches that come in the way are the attachment to the riches. So you see, we can sometimes misinterpret the simple teachings that we are supposed to be detached from these things. The more detachment you have to these things, the better your meditation will be. So it does not mean that because you are rich, you are disqualified or something, like he thought he was. So we have to distinguish between attachment to possessions and just being happy that God gave you the gift of these possessions which you can use. By the way, you don't own anything. You think you own. You should see when you die. Do you still own it? You leave everything behind. Nobody has ever taken anything with them. So therefore, it is not the possessions, it's not the riches, it is not the poverty, it is the attachment to these things that creates a problem for us. Now, Alexander the Great invaded India. He looted temples. He killed so many people during his great, very big fight through the Indian peninsula, right, went down to the south and came up. And he found that the temples there had a lot of gold in them. He looted the gold, and he had a large caravan of horses and camels, and he carried all that gold and everything. And on his way back, before he could reach Alexandria, which is now named Alexandria after him, in Egypt, on his way he fell sick. As some of you might know in history, he died on the way back home from India. And on the way, when he got so sick with very high fever, he couldn't even sit on a horse, had to be carried. They found he was so sick, and they lay him down, and they said, "We can't help you, you're dying." His accompanying physicians told him, "There's no way we can save you." He said, "I cannot die, because a gypsy told me when I was young that unless the sky turns into gold and the earth turns into silver, you will not die, Alexander. So how can I die?" But what happened was he had a silver armor, which they used. They spread that out on the ground, and there was a little canopy, a little umbrella made of gold. When they lay him there, they put the gold umbrella, and he saw the gold on top, and he saw the silver. He knew he was going to die. And then he said, yes, this was the implication of what the gypsy said. "Can you do something? I can give you all the wealth that I have brought with me to save me a few days to reach back home in Egypt." And the physician said, "There's no way we can save you. Your life is ending." He says, "I killed so many people. I made so many children orphans, made women widows, killed so many people. I feel so heavy on it, and I can't carry anything. I did it to carry all this gold and ornaments and things that I brought from India. I can't even carry them back." They said, "Nothing goes with you." Then he ordered that when he is placed in a coffin, his hand should be left outside. That the whole world should see that even Alexander the Great went empty-handed when he died. And they did it accordingly. And when they made his coffin, they put the hand out. And that's how he was buried. And he sent a message to the whole world that Alexander the Great, who could conquer everything and gather so much material wealth here, could not carry anything with him when he died. And so I went empty-handed. And how are we trying to collect things and gather things? This is my new car, this is my new house, this is my new property, I've got so much savings there. Nothing will go with us. Not even our body will go with us. None of our relatives will go with us. None of our children will go with us. None of the great beloveds that we have in this world and relationships we have will go with us. We'll go empty, alone. What are we working so hard for these things here? Why don't we work for something that will go with us? None of the stuff that we are attached to ever goes with us. What goes with us is what we develop in life by dying while living and seeing what will go with us. You will see that your karma, good karma, does go with you to some extent and affects your next life. The good deeds do affect you. But most of all, if you have been initiated by a perfect living master, the master goes with you all the time and is standing there right next to you when you die. That's a guarantee of initiation, that the master is there for you when you die. So many people, my own mother, my own father, so many relatives died with this great experience of master taking care of them. So we celebrate. When my dad died, I was in a top job in India, in a state. I was the chief secretary of a state, and he died in the capital Delhi. So I was leaving early morning. So I said that it was a good time to check out. He was a good disciple of great master. He loved so much. He must have gone a lot of high regions before dying, and master must have taken care of him. But since master is so kind to me, great master, he'll be able to let me have a glimpse of where he is. So I closed my eyes. I was driving in the car. The chauffeur was driving me. I was sitting in the back. I closed my eyes and I said, Master, my dad died this morning, and I would like to know where he is and what happened, out of curiosity. Can I see him? He said, you can't see him. The moment he died, passed away, he merged in the Satpurush in me. I said, how could that be? Did he do that kind of meditation? He said, no. Meditation is only a means to reach the level which he reached, which is unshakable faith and perfect love and devotion. That he had that, and there is no way except that you will merge in the Lord if you have that with you. I was very impressed that this kind of thing happens. So I called from the wireless telephone in my car, which I had. I called my mother and I said, I am very happy to tell you, your husband, my dad, has just had that great experience, and I verified from great master. She rejoiced. So by the time I reached home, people had come for sympathies, and we were dancing. They said, this is a crazy family. A death has taken place in the house. And there, my brother at that time was on a ship in the Navy, and he called from the ship. And my mother said, congratulations, your dad passed on and has merged with great master. There were some other satsangis, followers of masters standing there. They were shocked at our behavior. I mean, the experience we have of death is so different if we know what's going to happen. And if we have a connection with what's going to happen, if we are already experiencing what will be the afterlife, makes all the difference. Nobody is ever afraid of death. Nobody takes death like it is. And we are so afraid of death because we don't know what's going to happen and keep on accumulating things here which never go with us. Quite a strange policy we have, that we don't care for the real things, and we are so much concerned with attachment to things that will never go with us. When I was studying in Harvard, my wife joined me, and we had a son, 4-year-old son, who was with us. On the way back, we had an accident in Italy, and the son died. So I was, there was a group of students with me, we were returning together. I was giving a lecture to them. They thought I was in such grief that I can't cry. So I saw exactly what death meant to him, where he had gone, why he was dying, why he had to die for karma. I could see that clearly, so I didn't feel any grief at all. So they felt this guy must be a very heartless fellow. He has no heart, that he has no grief for it. But I was actually understanding that nothing has happened. He's just moved on to another stage, which I can see right now. We reached it. We cremated him. And when we cremated him, it was a very strange experience. I'm sharing some of these very personal things with you. Please keep them secret. And if you tell anybody, tell them also to keep it secret. When I was 4 years old, I'm telling you a personal story. When I was 4 years old, my father was teaching in a college in Dharamsala, the same place where the Dalai Lama lives now. And 3 Italian monks came. They were Buddhist monks from Italy. They were going around with their begging bowls and wearing the Buddhist long dress. And they came for begging for alms. And my mom was packing some food in those black begging bowls that they brought with them. I was in another room. And my dad was talking to them about Buddha and Buddhism and so on. I happened to walk into the room and walk out. And they said to my dad, "Is he your son?" He said, "Yes. We want to ask him some questions." Call him in. So write down the questions and ask him in your language. So my dad called me in and put 5 questions which they had asked. I gave 5 answers. And they said, "He belongs to us." My dad said, "What kind of game is this? You go to somebody's house and tell them, bring your son, 4-year-old son, and we'll ask 5 questions and now he belongs to us?" No, he wants to come with us. My dad said, "It's a joke, you know." They said, "If you don't believe us, ask him." So they asked me, "Do you want to stay here or go with them?" I said, "Go with them." They thought it's another joke. So we walked out, and we had a house with a gate. So they saw me going up to the gate. They said, "He'll come back. He's just a 4-year-old child. He's not going to go anywhere." But I kept on walking. They came to the gate. I walked with those 3 Buddhists. And we walked on, took a turn and disappeared. Then they got worried. Began to run to the police to find out what happened. And they allowed their son just to walk away with those Italian Buddhists. So ultimately they found out that they were staying in a shack, and they took me. I was very happy with them. And I enjoyed, they made some coffee. I don't know what else they put into it, but I think it was coffee. But I remember I liked it. I liked it as a child. They were having good time talking in Italian and English. So I was recovered and brought back. So they said to my dad, "Well, he belonged to us, you're taking him back." Dad said, "No, he doesn't belong to you." Anyway, the matter ended. Years later, I traveled to United States. I have a son who's 4 years old, same age that I was. And we go to Italy, and we have an accident, and the son dies in that accident. And we go for cremation. There are not too many crematoriums there, so we go to a crematorium, which is also a burial ground and a crematorium. And we find 3 graves, and the names we read, the same 3 Buddhists. Same 3 Buddhists were buried there, exactly where we cremated. I said, "How? Look at the whole circle goes around." It was so beautiful. You say, "Oh my God," but of course, I can also say, "OMG." I learned it. The story I'm telling is that when we reached back with my son's death and we carried his remains after cremation in a little urn as we carried it, my wife's parents met us at the airport, and they saw I was not grieving properly. I had some injury. As you can see that there was a break in the bone, and so I was in a plaster in my arm. So they were taking me to hospital, and there was still some shrapnel in my head, so they were cleaning up. But I was laughing and joking with them about how things happen, how karma works out. And then my mother-in-law said, "You know, it's not right. The people can't understand you. So please make a very sad face when they come to see." I had to practice how to make a sad face. I'm telling you how we don't realize. We think we are horrified of death, which is merely a change of clothing. It's merely a change of costume. We never die. We go into a different, better state. We forget all this. And just because we think we are this body, we take death so seriously, and we think so differently about death. Therefore, the best thing is, during meditation, to have the experience of dying while living. Know right now what will happen when you die. And if you are initiated by a perfect living master, have the experience now that you will not die and go into wilderness or anywhere. That you will be met by somebody who has transferred the accountability of your karma from the angels of death to himself. And there are no angels of death to take care of you or to say what karma leads you where. It's the master himself will decide right there. You can experience it in your lifetime. Instead of dying and then having the experience, you can die while living and have the experience now. So this is an important part. I find in the Bible, Paul says, I die daily. And people say, how can he die daily? Well, that's exactly what he means, that he had that experience. I also have another story about this subject. I can repeat that story. That's about an Indian businessman who used to go to Africa to do business. He did import and export. He would carry some textiles or some other things from India, bring cashew nuts and other material from Africa. It was a regular business. Every year he would go and come back. So on one of his visits, he visited a jungle, a parrot jungle. There were a lot of beautiful parrots there. And those parakeets, he liked one of the birds. He said, I should take him home. So he bought a cage and captured one of the parrots and took him home. And he fed him with his favorite food. If any of you have ever had parrots, you know their favorite food is red chilies, Mexican chilies they like. And they also like churi. That means wheat bread with a lot of molasses and sugar in it, or brown sugar, and some little butter mix up. They love it. That's called churi. The churi and chilies they love. So this man fed that parrot with churi and chilies, and the parrot was very happy, singing, dancing, whatever he was taught in the cage. Next year, when this businessman was going back to Africa, he asked his favorite pet parrot, I am going back to your homeland. Do you have any message to send? And the parrot said, yes. Tell them, I am having a great time. I am singing and dancing in my cage, and I have churi and chili every day. He said, okay. So the businessman went back to Africa, and there, after finishing his business, he went to that forest, and he gathered all those parrots there. Hey, folks, come here, I have a message for you. You remember, I took one of you, a parrot, to India, and he sent a message to you. And his message is, he is enjoying himself in his cage. He eats churi and chili and dances and sings all day. When he said that, one elderly parrot sitting on the branch of a tree near him had tears in his eyes, and he fell down dead. The merchant was very sad to see this parrot must have been very close to my pet parrot, that he couldn't even stand the message. He died anyway, feeling sorry. He came back home and he told the parrot in the cage, I conveyed your message that you are enjoying your life in your cage and you are jumping and dancing and eating churi and chili and all that. But one of the parrots who was sitting on a branch of a tree, he must have been very close to you, because he had tears in his eyes and he fell down dead. When he said this, the parrot in the cage had tears in his eyes and fell down dead in the cage. He felt very sorry. Oh, foolish merchant, if you knew they were so close, one could not stand this message, how would you have conveyed this message? Feeling sorry for the parrot, he opened the cage and threw the dead bird out. As soon as the dead bird lay on the ground, it opened its wings and flew. It sat on top of the tree. And the merchant said, you aren't dead after all? He says, no, I am not dead, nor is the other one dead. He only sent me a message through you. He said, if you want to get out of the cage, die while living. Sometimes we can send spiritual messages in such stories also. It used to be common to use parables and stories to convey spiritual messages. And that's why these messages have been sent. I have brought up this subject just to say that do not think that meditation is a mechanical thing. It's not mechanical. It's an attitude of love and devotion, simplified life, giving a priority to something that will come later, rather than concentrating entirely on the environment around you here and work around here. This is all karmic work. We have been placed here because of our pralabdha, our destiny, and karma has been created so that we can be here. Karma is not a bad thing. Good and bad karma combination is a good thing. If it was all good karma, we wouldn't be here. We would be in heaven. If all bad karma, we wouldn't be here either. We would be in hell. We need a combination of good and bad karma, ups and downs in life. We need it to be here. And this is the only place we can be seekers and escape from the whole system. So therefore, the karma is not a bad thing. One should look at it as a platform available to you to move around, to get out from. It is a sort of it's a gift to have a mixed karma and human life. It's the human life that's important. That being a human being with the experience of a free will and seeking, that can take you out. So that is why it's a big gift. One disciple of great master went to him and he said, "Master, in my next life, make me a human being." Master said, "Are you a donkey now? Why do you want to wait for next life? Who are you now? Whatever you want to do as a human being next life, do it now. You are a human being." So human beings have this special privilege that they can escape from this network, and that is why we should make the best use of it. Many people have asked me, we don't know what the purpose of life is. We want to know what is the purpose of being here. This is exactly the purpose. The purpose of life is to find a way to get out of this whole cycle of incarnations in different life forms, to get out of the prison that makes you move from one life to another, makes you move all the time, is tying you up with the law of karma, which is unreal by itself. The unreality perpetuates itself through the law of karma, because you do karma, then you stay on to pay it. And then the system provides for excess karma being restored so it can be used to keep you here even longer. Supposing you lead a karma-free life, which means a life that you got because of past karma, but in this life you don't want to have any more karma. Some people say, is it possible at all? Because every decision we make is a karma. How can we have a karma-free life? So there is a way to have a karma-free life also, and I'm going to explain that to you now. The karma is created when you make a decision. How about leaving the decision to somebody else? You don't make any karma. You might notice I secretly employ that system. People come to me, what you like to eat? What do you say? Anything, right? Okay, what is your opinion about it? Okay, go ahead with this. I agree with you. Go with the flow. What was the meaning of the word go with the flow? What it meant was, you allow circumstances, people around, whatever the life is giving you, to go with it. You don't create any karma. You allow what is happening to happen and don't interfere with it, no karma. But supposing you get free of all karma and live a karma-free life, the reservoir is so big. The reserve karma, which we call sinchit karma, is so huge that it can make thousands of lives again. So that is why the people who try to lead good lives, who try to lead purified lives, they end up having another life again. So because of the earlier karma which has been reserved up because they could not clear it in previous lives. What is the beauty of initiation by a perfect living master is, when a perfect living master initiates anybody, it's not a simple ceremony. It's not that he teaches you anything. He does not say, from now on, now follow this method of meditation. That one can do anyway. What he does is, he breaks your connection with your accountability to the law of reincarnation, to the law of rebirth, and makes places himself in that position to take care of you from that point onward. Not only that, at that very moment when he initiates you, he destroys all sinchit karma. He burns up all the past karma which could be used to create new lives. Therefore, the only life you can have after initiation is created by the new karma you have created now. And the only chance of your coming back into another life, which always is better life, a human life or a better conditioned life, is from the karma that you are still going to create in the balance of this life. It is really, such a big reduction of karma. You can go into the Akashic records and see this change that takes place at that time. It's a very big change. So the karmic thing is over when you get initiated. There's such a little piece left over only for this life. And if you are leading a life of going with the flow and not interfering too much with it, you cannot have another life. You just go straight up. There are so many people who lead lives which they follow the will of God, the will of the Master, the will of intuition, the will of the inner self. They don't create the karma. Only when you try to use mind's will, the mind tries to draw you somewhere else. You keep on creating karma and keep on perpetuating your life here. So there are many ways to make use of the spiritual path. It's not a mechanical thing. Then you want to go beyond the mind, then you have to rely upon love and devotion. Love and devotion alone goes above the mind. All meditational techniques, repetition of words, repetition of mantras, concentrating your attention on pictures and so on can take you very little far. To go beyond the mind, only thing that will carry you will be your love and devotion. And if you have unshakable faith and love and devotion, you need nothing else. You will go straight up to such guaranteed. That's the real thing. The real true spirituality is that. Somebody, an author was writing a book, collections from various people about spirituality. He asked me also to contribute. He said, can you contribute one chapter to the spiritual collection I'm making, anthology of spiritual teachings? I said, it has to be a short chapter. I can't write too much. He says, what, just a few pages? I said, it may be even less. Just a page? I said, it'll have to be a small page. He said, what, you mean a sentence or so? I said, it'll be very short. How much is it? I said, one word. Spirituality is love. Period. If there's no love, there's no spirituality. You must understand the significance of this. That love is coming straight from our soul, from our spirit. It's connecting us to the totality. All other things are created below it. All other things are mental. So that is why if there's no love and devotion in our meditation, it doesn't take us very far. Love and devotion. When you meditate, even when you repeat a mantra, it should be done with love and devotion. If you want to sit at the third eye center, which we were practicing yesterday, it should be done in a way that you are expressing your love and devotion for the Lord, who, if you cannot see, is seen in the form of the Master. That's one big advantage to have a human being with a higher awareness, that you can see him inside and express your love and devotion for that. So love and devotion is essential for good meditation. All other things I've talked about are secondary, including the food, the diet, all these things. If you are constantly only worrying about the external things and you meditate mechanically, thinking it's a mechanical exercise, nothing will happen. So love and devotion, concentrating on the third eye center, that will give you some results. Well, I have talked enough. I'll let you talk now and ask any questions or any comments. Yes, Ben.
Thank you, Ishwar. Is it not true that the Master brings us to satsang and does the meditation inside us? Is it our soul under the grace of our Master doing the meditation for us?
There are two ways of doing meditation. One is that you do it, which means supposing you are doing Simran, repetition of words. You close your eyes and you, whoever you think you are, start repeating it. Second is, let the Master do it. You just sit and watch and listen. The second is a better way. Not everybody does it. Master will do the meditation for you too. I have discovered that Master can do everything for you, including meditation. That's the art of good meditation. Yes?
A little bit of a technical question. When the Master takes on the sensual karmas, does he take some of that on his body? Is it all through his spirit only? Because it seems that Master's...
Sinchit karma is taken off at another level, at the kashik level. But sometimes Masters take your pralabdha karma on their own body.
Okay, that's what I've seen.
Yes. But they take it in a small way, because the negative force, Kal, that is watching this, which we say is in charge of all this mental domain here. That negative force is watching and doesn't want master to take it. But master takes a little bit and it helps the disciple a lot. It's not equal.
I learned of Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
Who was, I guess, developed alternating current, which runs most of the world.
You have a good friend sitting here, Mark.
Yeah.
He's also interested in electronics.
Yeah.
And yes, Tesla's work. When I first came to this country, I met one of the students of Tesla. And he was working on developing the machine that will work only on this natural power of gravity and so on, and never unending machine, something like that, which Tesla had predicted can be made. So the vibrations that exist here have not been fully tapped in even electronics. For example, the brain waves in the body have not been utilized, although you can take pictures of them today, and pictures have been taken. They have taken pictures of the brain, electrical circuits moving. When you think a thought and you see the synaptic curves that it takes and where it moves. When you have intuitive feeling, you see the lights going up at several places without a connection. They have got, I have seen pictures of those. So we have not even utilized fully the knowledge that we have of what's going on in the waves in the brain and outside. Kinetic energy has not been used fully here, but will be used even in the physical world. And you will see that we will have transmitters employing our natural waves. We will have all these equipment that we are seeing here will become obsolete. We are going to use something so minute and so natural. I had a very strange experience once. I asked Great Master. I was very young, you see, at that time. I was interested like you are in these things. I asked Great Master that how far will things change? Will this planet remain the same? Or will things move in the next 2000 years? Can I have a glimpse, just for a moment, into 4000 AD of this planet? He said, you can have a little glimpse, but don't be carried away by it, just have a glimpse. So by his grace, he gave me a glimpse, which I normally don't share my experiences, but I can share this one because of your interest. Unlike what people expect that they will save this planet, in 4000 AD, this planet is a garbage can. And we're all living outside in artificial satellites. All the homes are out there, and all the garbage that we create from there is dumped here. People are born there and they die, and the bodies are dumped on this planet. It is a very horrible scene to see. Wow. I felt so bad. All the communications are electronically being done, electronics, not any spiritual thing, and using the waves that exist in human beings and waves that are created by new equipment. All the universities have become obsolete. All knowledge can be transferred at equal level to all beings through a computer chip inside you. And no computer chips are needed. Your own brain cells are being used for that. I mean, it was a very strange experience. The people living think we are the most primitive people who are living today thinking we are so advanced in science. They think we were so stupid to build roads, to drive on the road level when we can easily fly above. In easy mobile vans that can fly in the air. I'm talking physical things. And they are surprised that we had university to teach people when the entire knowledge can be transferred wirelessly into the brain cells. Everybody can be equally educated. Imagine a society of that kind living in several universes, I mean small universes around the planet and other planets too. So the fact that electronics developed to that extent in as little as 2000 years shows what the future is. You are on the right track to enjoy this game. Take it like a game and enjoy it. Anybody else? Yes.
As vegetarians, to get complete protein, do we mix almonds with currants?
Sure. That's a good formula.
How many of each?
It depends on the constitution. You can take more almonds and less currants. Some people need more currants. It depends on the need for your sugar intake also. The fructose intake. The glucose and fructose intake also shows how much fruit and almonds to mix up.
And as vegetarians, do we have to be careful to avoid a vitamin B12 deficiency?
Well, vitamin B12 deficiency occurs if you have no supplement. Cellulose has vitamin B12. It's not being used in this country too much, but a British product has very good vegetarian B12 in the form of a product called Marmite. You know that? There's a product that is made and we use extensively, and those who are short in vegetarian B12, I always recommend take Marmite. It's written on 100% vegetarian. From cellulose they have created B12. The doctors here told me, oh, you can't have B12 except in meat. I was shocked to hear that.
It's made of yeast.
From yeast, yes, it's a sort of, it's from the yeast. It's a yeast extract. It's a yeast extract from which they take out. All the other vitamins are taken from there too. It's a good source of vitamin B12. Yes, there are vegetarian supplements. Don't worry. On the other hand, as I said earlier, don't go too deeply into the fine print also. And take what you know is vegetarian, has been acknowledged as vegetarian, and take it. One of the masters was going on a trip and said, I want to eat ice cream in this country. And they said, all ice cream contains eggs here. He said, oh my God, I've lost a very good dietary element I was always taking. Then I was told the story. I said, I'll investigate. And I found out, oh, Baskin-Robbins uses this and so. I found large varieties of ice cream still being made in this country with no eggs. Yeah, Breyers doesn't have. They don't use it. So but once you found it and you take that ice cream, somebody said, oh, what ice cream are you taking? Somebody said to me, oh, you cannot have pizza. Because the cheese has been processed by using rennet.
Well, some has a vegetable rennet.
Yeah.
Most have the pig.
And then I found that there are substitutes for that too. Somebody, you can't have jello. Why? It's made from gelatin from the hooves of cows. I said, oh boy. And then I found out gelatin made from agar-agar plant as good. And so many new gelatin are made from agar-agar plant and not from gelatin at all. They are jellos too. So it's a matter of just discovering something and then knowing this is a good diet. Once you have studied it, you restrict it. And of course, ignorance is bliss, you know that.
Yeah, that's right.
In this matter, as in most matters. Yes.
Is it true that if you eat 3 to 5 raw, unpasteurized almonds every day, you'll never get cancer?
That's you have to get medical advice. Esther says it has to be bitter almonds. But somebody told me last week that they should be raw almonds. Non-pasteurized raw almonds. Yeah. Non-pasteurized raw almonds are good for us. Okay, Boris and Mark know where to get it. On website you can get anything you want. That's new age, that's the new age. Website. Yes.
How much does Carl affect an initiate of Perfect Living Master? What's their
He tries to affect.
But how much can it?
He can frighten you. Cannot hurt you.
Cannot hurt.
Cannot hurt. Never. But can frighten you.
And in meditation.
In meditation also he can frighten you, but he cannot frighten you with the 5 words of Simran.
But what other way? I've only heard of meditation you can be frightened. What other way?
In real life also. Something can frighten you, a strange experience can happen, and if you use the 5 words, the experience changes. It applies not only in meditation, it applies in life itself.
How important it is for initiate to watch certain movies that you
It depends on how sensitive you are to movies. When I was a teenager, the great master was told by some people that these movies, new movies coming out with all kinds of love scenes and so on, and people is distracting people into a different way of life. And therefore, the satsangis are getting affected by it, and they are not doing good meditation because of this distraction. Great Master announced that I hear that the movies are a distraction. Please, satsangis should not visit movies, not should see movies. I was not at that satsang, but a satsangi told me that Great Master said this. I stopped seeing movies. Then my dad was seeing movies, my mom was seeing movies, my brothers and sister were seeing movies. I was the only oddball in the house who wouldn't go to movies. Then my dad tried to persuade me. I said, no. Great Master said, no movies, no movies. It's final. If he has said it, it's an order for us. So Great Master came to stay with us. This is in Ishwar Puri. And my dad said, Master, there's a very nice movie going on. How about going and seeing it? He said, sure. He said, but my son won't go. Because he said, you have stopped him. So he said, I didn't stop him. Call him. So Great Master called me and said, your dad says you are not going to the movies because I stopped you. When did I stop you? I said, somebody told me in the satsang you said the satsangi shouldn't go there. Well, that was not meant for you. That was some people who were not using that properly. And those for whom that message was sent have received that message. It was never meant for you. He took me to the movie. Some movies are nice, some are horrid.
Yeah, I think
So you pick up the good ones.
Yes.
Tell me the names of some horrid ones, I'll avoid them. If you are fine, you are fine. They are not fine, let them be not fine. Yeah, don't go by people. Go by your own personal experience. I have been saying that the path is customized for each person. It's not common for everybody. It depends. I have seen movies, not too many, but I have been told some movies are really spiritual. Don Uniberry, you know, lives with me, went and saw Matrix 3 times. And he said it's a spiritual movie. People have seen Avatar, and they say it shows it's a spiritual angle that there is in that movie. I have not seen it yet, but they say all men in another land are blue. Is that true? I have gone to a blue land, I have gone to a blue island, but never gone to a place with blue men. The only blue man I know is a show going on in Las Vegas. It's called the Blue Man Group. No, don't go too deep into this. See what is suiting you. What suits you, your intuition, your gut feeling will tell you what is right for you. Stay fine with it. No, don't worry about others. Let them take care of themselves. I am okay, you are okay, we are okay. Yes. Yes.
Transplants, and I wondered, is that something that
You can. There's
That's
no.
okay.
You can donate all the organs except one. Don't donate your brain.
They won't take it.
Everything else is okay. No, what happens is, no, karmically it doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't matter because karma is based upon intention,
Right.
not upon transplants. But the brain transplant means something different. Brain transplant means, supposing you donate your brain to somebody else, you will, they won't do it.
Yeah.
I can tell you even today, they will not do brain transplants. Because brain transplant means transplanting the whole personality to somebody else. Well, that part of the personality which is in every organ of us is also in a plant. Do you know the DNA structure of the banana is 50% the same as a human being?
I didn't know that.
There is such a little difference. The DNA structure of a chimpanzee is 99.99% the same as a human being. This is such a little difference. The different species of life that have come up, the differences are very little. We think that there is a very big difference in us. Most of it is common. Now, spiritually, of course, we are all common, drawing our soul from the same source, which is one source, and we become individuated from the same source, remain connected. Therefore, we are all connected that way. But even physically, through the genome project, we discovered that we are connected genetically also.
To each other.
Yeah, somebody told me that my great-great-great-great-grandmother was in Africa. And she was a black lady, and her name was Lucy. First I felt strange, then I was told she's the grandmother of everybody. The whole human species, the gene that that resisted and stayed alive was from that strain. There were 4 strains, only one survived, and we are all part of that. Black, white, yellow, we are all part of the same strain.
All brothers and sisters.
White people went and didn't go into the sun. They stayed in the north, and the people who went to the south got darkened.
Dark skin, that's right.
Yeah, it was all the justice. Don't blame us, blame the sun.
So that
Yes.
would be back.
How whenever you meet somebody, with certain people you feel a real attraction, and so you feel that there's a connection there, so, between two people.
There are 4 principles of Indian spirituality. The first principle is we never meet anybody without a karmic connection, and we have either to learn something or teach something to that person. Every connection we have with every person we meet has something to do with it. Second principle is whatever has to happen will happen, no matter how you try to change it. The third principle is that the timing for all events are fixed. You can't force it to come earlier or postpone it to later. The fourth principle is the most important principle, which says what is over is over. That means don't live in the past. What has happened, move forward. Don't live in the past. The first, your question is answered by the first principle, that whenever we meet a person and feel that we have something to do, we have something to do. And if you feel attracted to somebody, surely it's from the past. If you hate somebody at first sight, surely you have something to do from the past. And if you are neutral with somebody, surely you have something to do with the past. So therefore, it's all a play. It's a play that's going on with our past relations. We have been walking on this journey through incarnations and creation for such a long time. Sometimes somebody goes ahead and we are left behind. Sometimes we go ahead and meet them later. But it's all like meeting the same people over and over again. Great Master said that if a person is initiated by a perfect living Master, 7 generations of that person are affected by the initiation and will be saved, initiated in due course. That's a very big statement. That means even who have never met a Master have been guaranteed this much, 7 generations. So somebody said, Master, do you mean the previous 7 generations or the next 7 generations? He said, what's the difference? The same guy same guy is coming back again. So this is a recirculation of beings, souls going together. And so these connections come up again and again. We need all this for karmic connection, otherwise there will be no life. To live here, we need these connections from the past, and we meet those people. If you feel that you have an attraction for a person at first sight, there is no special reason for it. It has to be built into you from some past connection. And sometimes you can see the past connection, sometimes you cannot. I have met people here, number of them, who I know were in their past lives living in India. They come here, they like Indian food. How many of you like Indian food? Oh boy, a lot of migration has taken place. And then I find people who have, there's one girl who's surprised by talking Punjabi, has never learnt it. So see, sometimes these remnants of old things on the mind and the body come up even in the next incarnation. My grandmother, I'm telling in my own family I have seen so much. My grandmother died, she had little kind of a carbuncle or cancer on her foot. And when she died, in several months, a grandchild was born to her, my second uncle's grandchild, who at birth had the same place, at the same position. So from nothing else we knew that she is the same person. There is a girl, some of you know, who we believe was a disciple of Great Master, a young girl, an American-born girl in Chicago now. And she went with me to India. And I thought, I had a guess, some suspicion that she may be the same Bibi who was with the Great Master in the Dera. And the Bibi, when she was very old, she was living in a resort town called Shimla in India, and before dying, she called two of my sisters who were still living and visited Chicago first time last month. She invited those two younger sisters of mine to come and stay with her. So they went to stay with her, and while serving tea to them, she took out some cookies, you know, those long cream wafers, which are doubled and have cream in the middle, the long ones. She opened up a packet of that, and instead of just saying have them, she began to arrange them on a plate in a pattern like a wheel or like spokes of a wheel and like a sunrise. She put them in that pattern, and they were looking at that. Why is she doing this? We are just going to eat it up anyway. Why is she making such a design out of it? It surprised them, but they kept quiet. That lady died afterwards. Now this girl, as a teenager, happened to have an interest, was a vegetarian in her family when nobody else was vegetarian. They tried to force her to eat meat, and she wouldn't eat. So this is why she is so exceptional and was so different. Ultimately, she met me and she traveled with me to India and visited the home of my two sisters. When they went there, they offered her tea, and they opened up that packet of cookies, and she began to arrange that exactly the same way.
Wow.
They were shocked to see that. And for them, that was enough evidence that she was the same person. I had my reservations. I said maybe somebody taught her how to do it or something. But actually, she had so many other evidences to show that she was the same person. And they had come, and the connections were made for past activities, for past relationships. So this happens all the time with us, that we meet people. I meet people and I can feel straight away that I've seen them before in a past life.
Do you think
It need not be immediate past life. Sometimes remote past lives come up. Biological family. Most of the time you remain within the same group.
Yeah.
Sometimes you depart if you're an adventurer or something and want to move into new areas. Sometimes most of us stay in the same areas, keep on with the same people because we have karma with the same people. So that's why we get reborn in the same area with the same people. Sometimes we move out because of some past karma with people who are now far away, and then we get moved far away. But it is this whole reincarnation business, the process of being reborn to continue with the relationship we have had, results in two kinds of reactions. You can be reborn to complete something you couldn't complete. You loved somebody but couldn't meet. You can be reborn and meet again and now get together. That's one way. The second is you react negatively and you take it out on somebody, take a revenge out. That somebody hurt you and you never got a chance to give back. You come next time and you hurt that person. Not deliberately, accidentally, by misunderstanding. And you wonder why you did that. It's also because of that past karma. So the karma is paid off in many ways. So it's a very interesting, this karma is very interesting set of rules and games that works. But it makes the game going on. It makes our stay here permanent. There's no way out. I have often thought, if there was no perfect living master telling us a way out of the mental fields in which we live, would we be ever able to find a way out? I can't see any. Because all the ways we think out are mental. A mind alone is struggling, mind alone is trying to learn, mind alone is trying to work out, and that's the cause of the trouble. The mind is creating the karma by doing anything. Anything we do with the mind creates karma. So how can we get out of it? It's like a dog comes in, a stray dog, and we want to get rid of the dog to get out. And we catch hold of the tail of the dog, and we hit the dog with the tail and say, get out, get out. So long as the tail is in our hand, the dog is here. So we are trying to defeat the mind with the mind itself. It doesn't work like that. Therefore, we need the help of someone, need the help of some agency, some power, which should itself be beyond the mind right here. in this world. It should be sitting right here in our midst, some connection with something beyond the mind into the total spirit. Then we have a way out.
The initiation process, and you work with the perfect living master. Do you still reincarnate here? Again?
Only for the karma you are creating in this life, not past lives. You can reincarnate now. You don't have to reincarnate here at all. If you follow the perfect living master's instructions given at the time of initiation, you never reincarnate again. If you don't follow, sometimes you reincarnate. The maximum times you can reincarnate after initiation is 4 times, maximum. Somebody told me, when I came here, everybody knew this four life system. Oh, we are here for 4 lives. I said, do you know? This question was answered. Again, I can give you example from my own family, from my dad, that great master said this in one of his discourses, that once you are initiated, you will not be here in this physical world for more than 4 lives. They will be human lives. Each one will be better than the previous. Okay? My dad was not at that discourse, at that satsang. So he went to great master in the evening. He said, Master, I heard you said that once initiated, you cannot have more than 4 lives. The great master said, Lekhraj, that was his name. Lekhraj, why are you worried? This is your last life. Why are you worried about 4 lives? He says, no, I wanted to know if I can have a 5th or 6th one. Am I barred from it? He says, why do you want 5th or 6th? Master, supposing you decide to return, you want me to be stuck there? If you want to come back here 5 times, I'll come 5 times with you. So Master laughed and said, no, 4 lives is a maximum. If a person follows the instructions given by a perfect living master, this is his last life. He never reincarnates again. If a person does not follow, tries to but fails, he may be given 1 more life, 2nd life, and he goes. Only a person who completely give up the master can get a 3rd life. And those who are against the master and work against him get the 4th life. So it's not that everybody is having 4 lives. So people who are thinking we are all going to have 4 lives. No, that's not true. If you follow the master's instructions, this is your last life. Yeah. Everybody can tell which stage they are in.
Pardon me?
By meditation, you can discover all that.
Okay. Are you able to see that?
Well, with special glasses, I can. Those are called thick glasses. Have you any one of you seen me with thick glasses? Here, see? These people have seen you missed the show. I'll show you sometimes. So any deeper questions you want to ask, I'll wear very thick glasses. I thought meditation is for fun, but nobody takes me like that.
I thought we were going to meditate today.
I thought meditation is for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to continue the meditation tomorrow. I told too many stories today. I hope you enjoyed the stories. And those who did not like the stories, please raise your hand. I'll censor them next time. And thank you very much for singing the beautiful shabads, which are so beautiful. Many people don't understand them because they're in Punjabi. And I understand them better because I can't believe the Americans, not Indians, Americans are singing in such good intonation and pronunciation of Punjabi words. So you really impressed me, how you could sing these Punjabi shabads in such a beautiful way and such an accurate way, with right pronunciation, right intonation, and right music. So thank you, and thank you, your guitar also. Now I must tell you, I was studying at Harvard University. There were 2 professors there, and they were practicing yoga, type of yoga. There was a yoga center with 50 members there, and I met those members. But the professors were experimenting with mushrooms. Their names were Professor Richard Alpert and Timothy Leary. I was in the university then, at the same time. And Alpert became Baba Ram Das. He went to India, he studied yoga of various kinds, and he wrote several books, and you probably know. Not many people knew about Timothy Leary. They were both expelled from the university, by the way, for the mushroom experiments, because the mushrooms contained LSD, DMT, all that stuff, mescaline. So the Timothy Leary set up a church outside the country on an island. It was called the Church of the Boo-Hoo,
Yes, right.
because he believed there was hardly any difference between the sublime and the ridiculous. So sometimes I think of him that in a way he was right, that we are making so much distinction between these things. We should have fun. Meditation should be fun. Life should be fun. We didn't come into this life to suffer. We came to have fun. What's gone wrong? Something has gone wrong with our attitude, that we can't see it as a show, as a play in which we entered for fun. So, with better meditation as fun, you will get more fun in the life too. Enjoy it.